Namaskar. My name is Padmaja and I have been working in the area of Jawai for the past 7 years. I'm from Jodhpur and I've grown up in this landscape. This landscape, as I remember, has been home to several migratory species of birds as well as leopards, hyenas and sloth bears with crocodile. The Jawai Bandh Dam is a crocodile sanctuary. What I have noticed here in the past several years is that the need for indigenous species of plants to be protected and grown by the people of this area and the people of India worldwide is of prime importance, and that's what I've been doing out here for the past several years. Speaking of conservation, I have done my studies in hotel administration with the Taj, and I have worked on a dissertation that forced me to think about sensitive, responsible wildlife watching tourism. In return, I realized that there is so much a traveler can do without really being a part of an organization just by their travels. So I sat down and I did some research, and my calculations made me realize that it is possible for one man to make a difference. We started to, with the help of my family, convert agriculture land that was passed down to us from father to son into an indigenous forest of Kumatia. Now, Kumatia is gum arabic, Acacia Senegal, and it is considered as farmers' food, but the kings love it. It's sold very expensive and it's got several medicinal qualities. Realizing that there is scope for indigenous agriculture of plants for medicinal use, we started to, in the due course of time, uproot the Prosopis juliflora, and in place of Prosopis juliflora, because it's already found the source of water, we started to throw manure of goat. In return, plants of indigenous species started to grow. Now there's a grazing plant by the name of dhau, D-H-O-N-K. Ranthambore is got a huge massive jungle of dhau. We've got the Safed dhau out here, that's the white dhau. It's a highly medicinal grazing plant. Camels as well as livestock use this plant. It's hardwood. The Raika community, that's the camel herdsmen, also use it as a bevla. It's a fork, so they actually dig it and lift weight or thorns with it to maneuver around, so on and so forth. So we've got about 30 plus acres of just the dhau plantation that have now become thick trees. And Kumatia, again, about over 30 acres of Kumatia plantations we have. Apart from this, we've got several grasses, mainly speaking the dhaman grass, which is again very, very important. We've also got the palash tree. Now the palash is a flame of the forest, that's Butea monosperma, and it's a natural mosquito repellent. I'm very fortunate that Bodhi International, Jodhpur, gave me an opportunity to speak as a TEDx speaker for destruction of desert habitat. So the TED Talk made me realize that the reach of what we are doing out here, starting off with one person, can actually affect a lot of lives, because ever since TED Talk in 2018, 7th of April, we have received so many emails where people have asked us for help as well as volunteered to help for this year. And it seems that the past 10 years of work is paying off. Now, this area of Jawai has got igneous metamorphic rock, which is home to several species of animals, including the sloth bear. This is the last green western frontier of India that's actually holding a population, dense population of the leopard, dense population of the Indian sloth bear, dense population of hyena, in harmony, including crocodile, in harmony with man. How does that work? How is it that man and animal are living together? It's sheer respect given by man towards animal. It's respect by man, that's the locals of this area, that have understood the value of these plants and animals, and they worship them. They worship them because they consider them as supreme beings who bless them. For example, the herdsman, the Raika, considers if the leopard comes and picks up a cat, comes and picks up livestock, he has taken away disease. So he will pick up, but obvious, one of the weakest, and the weakest may or may not have disease, but they have for generations considered the fact that the leopard is a blessing in disguise given to them by Lord Shiva as a doctor that will come out and clean their livestock. Likewise, for the sloth bear. Sloth bear is again considered as a being of great power because of the sheer strength the sloth bear holds. They do not underestimate that power. When they go into the forest for their grazings, they are going to respect lairs and caves of these animals. Unlike the hotel industry for wildlife that encroaches on these animals and puts camera traps inside or in the vicinity of their caves. Now, the approach that I have taken with the help of the locals in this area is to get involved with sensitive wildlife watching tourism. Sensitive because we got to think of every wild animal as our mother, sister or brother. If we can do that, we realize that it's our mother's home, so anything that trespasses, you putting a camera trap, may not disturb the animal. But if there are thousands and hundreds of camera traps or even tens of camera traps that are going in because every second person wants to be a wildlife photographer and they think that they're really good at their job, but that's not a fact. If you really are a good wildlife photographer, you will understand the importance of distance between man and wild. It's become a fad, it's become a fashion, actually no, it's become a fad that people think that they can approach animals just because some people are blessed and they've got National Geographic videos or BBC or any of these big company videos touching animals or animals coming close to them. It's a miracle that that's happening. B, the person, I bet, has to be on a very high level of meditative, vibrative energy that the animal actually comes and approaches. And see, we really don't know what the ground story is. But every second person thinks that they can go approach an animal. I've been living in this jungle for the past 10 years, literally. I can count the number of times an animal has approached me, and I can tell you the truth that the sheer smell of a human being will make an animal bold. Any wildlife person will know this fact and will agree with me. And yes, I do have a lot of stories that are very hair-raising and very interesting, but am I here to boast about rare instances of my life, or am I here to encourage people and students and travelers that you can be a part of saving this planet? Now, the human being for the past 200 years, ever since Industrial Revolution, has eaten up this earth to a level where we have to fix the ozone layer. But the emission of carbon and methane in the atmosphere is exceedingly high. Is every home doing their bit? Is every traveler doing their bit? Or are we just interested in how our Instagram page looks, or how many million rupees or dollars can a footage be sold for, or how can we open up a hotel saying that we are an eco-friendly conservative hotel and have air conditions blowing in every room? I still want to see an air condition that actually gives out positive versus destructive. So now all of this jungle that you see, we've got about, I've really not calculated, but what's happened is we have several several villagers for the past 5 years who have understood our concept, and they have started to let out their personal private lands, and we are trying to make a corridor now, and we have managed to very successfully. We've managed to make a corridor, and we've got indigenous plants growing all throughout out here, right to the back, and it goes across about 10 kilometers of indigenous forest, just from where we are sitting at the moment towards the west. Now, if you come to where I am, I'll be able to explain that to you better. Now, behind me is Jawai Bandh. This is the area that we require the government. This is the area that we require villages to get involved, to actually get the Prosperous juliflora out, and in place of that, plant certain plants that are good for the environment. We've also dug in several parts, small areas where water can go in and regenerate groundwater, which is a very, very difficult thing to do. But we are trying, and in the summers also we supply water to different watering holes. And yes, I do have an opportunity. I can sell a safari out. I know exactly where the animal is going to come, but I'm not going to do that. We have specific spots. You go there, you figure your animal out. Beyond a line of control, we're not going to cross that line of control. I don't do it myself. My father didn't do it. I'm not going to do it. And we hope that the future generation realizes that there is a line that we need to maintain, where the animals can breed safely and then trust us to actually come out and show, be it a bird, be it a carnivore, or be it a reptile.